Mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says to receive the divine grace, not only must one have a great aspiration, but also a sincere humility and an absolute trust. With always our love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 7, the Book of Yoga, Canto 1, The Joy of Union, the Ordeal of the Foreknowledge of Death and the Heart's Grief and Pain, page 417. The rich and happy secrecy that once enshrined her, as if in a silver bower, apart in a brightness of thoughts and dreams, made room for tragic hours of solitude and lonely grief that none could share or know. A body seeing the end too soon of joy and the fragile happiness of its mortal love. Her quiet visage, still and sweet and calm, her graceful daily acts were now a mask. In vain she looked upon her depths to find a ground of stillness and the spirit's peace. Still, veiled from her was the silent being within, who sees life's drama pass with unmoved eyes, supports the sorrow of the mind and heart, and bears in human breast the world and fate. A glimpse or flashes came, the presence was hid. Only her violent heart and passionate will were pushed in front to meet the immutable doom. Defenseless, nude, bound to her human lot, they had no means to act, no way to save. These she controlled, nothing was shown outside. She was still to them the child they knew and loved. The sorrowing women they saw not within. No change was in her beautiful motions seen. A worshipped empress, all once we to serve, she made herself the diligent serf of all, nor spared the labor of broom and czar and well, or close gentle tending, or to heap the fire of altar and kitchen, no slight task allowed to others that her women's strength might do. In all her acts a strange divinity shone. Into a simplest moment she could bring a oneness with earth's glowing robe of light, a lifting up of common acts by love. Words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, taken from the collective works of our Lord Sri Aurobindo book, The Mother with Letters. Topic: Incarnation and Evolution. Subtopic: The Reason for Their Embodiment. Dated 6th December 1913. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the supramental creation, since it is to be a creation upon earth, must be not only an inner change, but a physical and external manifestation also. And it is precisely for this part of the work The most difficult of all, that surrender is most needful. For this reason, that it is the actual descent of the supramental divine into matter and the working of the divine presence and power there that can alone make the physical and external change possible. Even the most powerful self assertion of human will and endeavor is impotent to bring it about. As for the egoistic insistence and vital revolt, they are, so long as they last, insuperable obstacles to the descent. Only a calm and pure and surrendered physical consciousness, full of the psychic aspiration, can be its field. This alone can make an effective opening of the material being to the divine light and power, and the supramental change a thing actual and practical. It is for this that we are here in the body, and it is for this that you and other sadhaks are in the ashram near us. But it is not by insistence on petty demands and satisfactions in the external field or an outer nearness pleasing to the vital nature and its pride or desire that you can get the true relation with the divine in this province. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, if you want the realization there, it is true that nearness that you must seek, the descent and presence of the Divine Mother in your physical consciousness, her constant inner touch in the physical being and its activities, her will and knowledge behind all its works, and thoughtful and moment, and the ever present and the ever present Ananda of that presence, expelling all vital and physical separateness, craving and desire. If you have that, says our Lord, you have all the nearness you can ask for, and the rest you will gladly leave to the Mother's knowledge and will to decide. For with this in you, there can be no feeling of being kept away, no sense of gulf and distance, no complaint of a unity that is lacking, or an empty of dryness and denial of nearness. Next subtopic, their presence. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says it is quite sure that we are with you day and night. We are with you day and night. Even if you do not see the Divine Mother in your dreams or feel her presence, you should think of her as there, supporting you, guiding you, and that will surely help you. If there is a natural movement of your mind to identify Shiva in the way you speak of, and it jumps to myself and the Mother, why not let it take the jump? Perhaps it is not in a jump but a natural transition and reconciliation and not a conflict. Certainly, your pranams are always accepted by us and always will be. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, our presence, force, peace, love are always with you. That is a thing you must realize and learn to keep the consciousness of it. If you do that, all the rest is of minor importance. Your difficulties, the old nature, etc. And you will be set right in due time. Next subtopic, calling the Divine Mother and Sri Aurobindo. Question: while aspiring towards the Divine Mother and repeating her name, your name comes in as well. For this, our Lord Sri Aurobindo smiles and says, you must always aspire towards the Divine Mother, because hers is the force which can alone give you the true realization of the Divine. If your mind wants to do otherwise, You must control it. Any separation made by it between the Divine Mother and myself, like substituting my name for hers, must be discouraged, because when that happens, errors may creep in into your inner experience. Probably I come to work in you so that it may become easier for you to feel the Divine Mother with you always. Receiving their influence, dated 28th October 1934. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says there are no conditions for receiving the influence of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother except faith and entire sincerity in following the spiritual path, and a will and capacity to open oneself to the influence. But this capacity usually comes as a result of sincerity and faith. Next subtopic, dealing with the sadhaks, dated 28th April 1932. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says it is very silly and childish to have abhimana, for it means that you expect everyone, including the Divine Mother and myself, to act always according to your ideas and do what you want us to do, and never do anything which will not please you. It is for the Divine Mother to do whatever she finds to be right or necessary. You must understand that, and otherwise, you will always be making yourself miserable for nothing. Next subtopic, their help. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the Mother told you very simply that if you pray to her, your prayers to Krishna having according to you no effect, you would have received quicker help. That was simply to help you. She is here, close to you and the others, and any numbers here have received her help by calling simply to her and directly, of course, without any questions or misgivings. Even now, there are several who are emerging out of the same illness, a habit of long attacks of the black despondency, with the usual round of suggestions. Unfitness, this yoga is hopeless for me, no response, no experience. The divine does not love me, the Divine Mother is at a distance. How far, how long can I go now? How can anyone live like this, running away, etc.? These are all emerging because they have suddenly managed to turn simply and directly towards her. So, what the Mother said was something unfounded, a mere idea of hers. It is simply a suggestion to help you. How did your mind come to the conclusion that it was a command to be followed? The habit of mental construction, that is a fear. But the fear is a mental construction, could have no real foundation. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, this yoga is union with the divine. Sadhana is what you do in order to unite with the divine. You have to get away from the ordinary human consciousness and get into touch with the divine consciousness. For that call always on the Mother, open yourself to her, aspire and pray for her force to work in you so as to make you fit. Reject desire, restlessness, disturbances of the mind and vital. Dhyana means to keep the mind and vital quiet. Dhyana means to keep the mind and vital quiet and concentrate in aspiration for the Divine Mother's presence, Divine Mother's peace, her presence with her light, force, and ananda. Question. Nowadays, I feel utterly disturbed and upset. Whenever there is disturbance or confusion, I take my consciousness away from it. I have a kind of faith, but there's nothing regular or systematic in it. My mind has wandered very much, trying to find the true way of doing the sadhana, says the child. For this, Lord Sri Aurobindo says, it is only by constant aspiring to the Divine Mother's light and force that you can make true and steady progress. It is only by constant repetition and persistence of the Divine Mother's light and force that the habit of disturbance and lack of organization can diminish and finally disappear. Only so can the lower being be prepared and the decisive descent of truth and light be finally made possible. The Mother's peace is above you. The Divine Mother's peace is just above you. By aspiration, quiet self opening, it descends. When it takes hold of the vital and the body, then equanimity becomes easy and in the end automatic. Says our Lord. This is dated 28th August 1933. Question. Please give your grace to this unfortunate lady whose letter I enclose. Be kind enough to instruct me what I should write to her. She prays for your Upadesha and blessings. For this, our Lord Sri Aurobindo says on 21st June 1937, but it is not by Upadesha that this sadhana is given or carried on. It is only those who are capable by aspiration and meditation on the Divine Mother to open and receive her action and working within that one can succeed in this integral yoga. Let the power of the Divine Mother work in you. Let the power of the Divine Mother work in you. But be careful to avoid any mixture or substitution. In its place of either a magnified ego working or a force of ignorance presenting itself as truth. Aspire especially for the elimination of all obscurity and unconsciousness in the nature. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says to be in contact with the Mother's light and force is the one important thing to which you must aspire for. For this, the psychic feeling is the indispensable condition. For it is through the psychic that this contact becomes easy and natural. It gives the psychic basis. Once this basis is firmly established, the rest can be done according to need, and it must be much better done because then there will be safety from the hostile attack and the right guidance. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says on 9th June 1936, the fire is the pure, purifying psychic fire, a fire in the heart offering everything into the fire. No hesitation. Offer everything. Offering to the psychic fire is not contrary to the worship of the Mother. To purify all in the psychic fire rather than throw the obscurities and resistance on the Divine Mother is obviously the right way. Next subtopic, aspiration, rejection, surrender. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says on 25th September 1936, what you say of sadhana is true. Sadhana is necessary and the divine force cannot do things in the void but must lead each one according to his nature to the point at which he can feel the Divine Mother working within and doing all for them. Till then, the sadhak's aspiration, self-consecration, assent and support to the Divine Mother's workings, his rejection of all that comes in the way is very necessarily indispensable. It is quite true, says our Lord, that aspiration, rejection, and remembrance of the Divine Mother surrendered to her and union with her consciousness are the main means of the sadhana. It is also true to seek the supramental for oneself by one's own means is a folly. That I have said from the beginning and emphasized it recently. It is also true that to make the union with the divine, the cardinal aim and the rest and the consequence is not to seek progress and experience for their own sake, for the sake of ego or the proper attitude for the sadhak. It is through meditation. Yoga should not be misled or misused. If the sadhak is self-centered, egoistic, obscure, that doesn't mean meditation, vision are of no use. One should remember the Divine Mother always.
Everything you do flows from the divine, and therefore it doesn't matter what you do. It's rather a dangerous one. The effort demanded of the sadhak is that of aspiration, rejection, and surrender. If these three are done, the rest is to come by itself by the grace of the Divine Mother and working of her force in you. But the most important is surrender, of which the first necessary form is a trust and confidence and patience in difficulty. There is no rule that trust and confidence can only remain if aspiration is there. On the contrary, when every aspiration or even aspiration is not there, because of the pressure of inertia, trust and confidence and patience can remain. If trust and patience fail when aspiration is quiescent, that would mean the sadhak is relying solely on his own effort. It would mean, oh, aspiration has failed. So there is no hope for me. My aspiration failed. So what can mother do? On the contrary, the sadhak should feel, never mind, my aspiration will come back. Meanwhile, I know that the Divine Mother is with me even when I do not feel her. She will carry me even through the darkest period. That is the full, great, and right attitude you must have. To those who have it, depression can do nothing. Even if it comes, it has to return baffled. That is not tamasic surrender. Tamasic surrender is when one says, I won't do anything, the mother will do everything. Aspiration, rejection, surrender even are not necessary. Let her do all that in me. There's a great difference between these two attitudes. One is that of the shrikar who won't do anything. The other is that of the sadhak who does his best, but when he is reduced to quiescence for a time and things are adverse, to keep always this trust in the Divine Mother's force and presence behind all, and by that trust baffles the opposition force and calls back the activity of the sadhana. Self giving or surrender is demanded of those who practice this integral yoga because without such a progressive surrender of the being, it is quite impossible to get anywhere near the goal. To keep open means to call in her force to work in you. If you do not surrender to it, it amounts to not allowing the force to work in you at all, or else turning on the condition that it will work in the way you want and not in the way in which it is the way of the divine truth. In the yoga, one is supposed to go beyond the mental idealistic culture ideas belonging to the mind. To seek after the impersonal is the way of those who want to withdraw from life, but always, usually, they try by their own effort, but not opening to the superior power by the way of surrender. The surrender is necessary for the progress. No one can make the complete surrender from the beginning, so it is quite natural. There is no reason that the surrender should not be accepted. It is necessary if you want to progress in your sadhana that you must make the submission and the surrender sincere, real, and complete, says our Lord, Sri Aurobindo.
The eternal suffers in a human form. He has signed salvation's testament with his blood. He has opened the doors of his undying peace. How shall he cure the ills he never felt? He carries the suffering world in his own breast.
Prayers and Meditations, August 11, 1914. O my sweet Master, enter into all these confused thoughts, all these anguished hearts. Kindle there the fire of thy divine presence. The shadow of the earth has fallen back upon it. It has been completely shaken by it, but this shadow was hiding thy immutable sun. And now that it has crashed down upon this poor world, rocking its very foundations and transforming it into a formidable chaos, wilt thou not once again move upon the chaos and speak thy will? Let there be light. O thou marvelous unknown one, thou who hast not yet manifested thyself, thou who awaitest the propitious hour, and hast sent us upon earth to prepare thy ways, all the elements of this being cry to thee, may thy will be done, and give themselves to thee in a supreme and unconquerable urge. Envelop this sorrowful earth with the strong arms of thy mercy, permeate it with the beneficent outpourings of thy infinite love. I am the powerful arms of thy mercy. I am the vast bosom of thy boundless love. My arms have enfolded the sorrowful earth and press it tenderly to my generous heart, and slowly a kiss of supreme benediction is laid upon the struggling atom, the kiss of the Divine Mother, which soothes and heals.